It was a page where they would bitch about their au pairs and things that they would do, or things that they would say, or how they would smell. I don't wish this to anybody. Okay, we're gonna be talking about why it is not a good idea to be an au pair, why you don't want to be an au pair ever, ever, ever. I'm gonna be telling you why it's not a good idea, and also, of course, about my own experience, because it's from my point of view that it's not a good thing to do. Let's talk about the downsides, okay? I'm not gonna be telling you about the upsides here. If you wanna be an au pair and look at the good sides, you go somewhere else, because I didn't have much good sides. First thing, okay, you know that it's not gonna be an activity, a job that's gonna make you rich, obviously, but still, you really want to be careful with the family that you choose and the amount of money that they're gonna pay you each week. Most of the time it's a weekly payment. I got paid 170 Australian dollars per week, which is not so much because Australia is really expensive. A lot of au pairs that I knew were getting paid a lot more. This is not the main goal, but it still matters because you're in the family 24/7. You're required to be a part of this family and to participate constantly. This leads me to my next point, which is that you never know when you're working or not. I mean, there's a really fine line between these moments where you're working and these moments where you're just in the house and just chilling and that you can just mind your own business and do your thing. This I really had a hard time with because, for example, the parents would be home. They could take care of the kids because I had 2 kids to take care of. They were 9 years old and 11 years old, a boy and a girl. So somebody would be cooking dinner and kids would need help with something and I would be like off my day of work, but still I had to help them. It's just so complicated. Basically, you have to keep in your head that yes, it's a family, they're welcoming you and you're gonna be a sort of a part of the family, but also you live in your employer's house and that you always have to keep in mind. You're not in your own place and you have to stay in your place as well. House rules. If your family is accustomed to having au pairs, then they'll probably have a little book with like the rules of the house or the rules of the family and things you're expected to do, things you can and cannot do, okay? So you want to make sure that you read this before even going to the family and living with them. Be careful with this. Some families have a lot of rules that can be really harsh, really strict, not to your taste, if that makes any sense. Like it might be things that you'll dislike. For example, I don't know, it's written in their little book that you have to walk the dog every day, 5 times per day. Like that can be annoying if you don't like animals, for example, I don't know. But in my family, the problem was that they had a car that I could use. The thing was with that car was that I could use it, but only when the family allowed me to. And of course, it's their car. I'm not expecting to be able to use a car that's not mine all the time. Being an au pair is basically going back a little bit to teenagehood. Your childhood, you have to ask for things. You're going back to being dependent on somebody because it's not your house. You're not gonna do this under my roof. This is the kind of deal it is. It's not your car, it's not your room, it's not your stuff. And for example, I would be able to use this car, but if they said that I couldn't, well then I just wouldn't be able to go wherever I was gonna go to meet, I don't know, other au pairs, for example. There were a lot of rules around this car, that you can't eat inside the car, that you have to be back at a certain time, you can't go party with the car, but obviously, you know, but I mean, even if I party and I don't drink, I still couldn't take the car. So it was like a lot of rules like this. You want to make sure that you understood the rules and that you're okay to comply with them. Otherwise, just look for another family. I know even that there are a lot of au pairs who have a really great experience, who are in really amazing families and their trip is the best thing. I know some of these guys, but I also know, and I mostly know people who had such a bad experience. It can be really traumatic. For example, in the family, there was the father who was drunk. The father hit on them all the time, or the mother was being beaten, or the kids, stories like this. So it's really complicated when you're in the middle of dysfunctional families and you don't really know what is your role and what you can do and can't do. And things can even like go bad for yourself, for your own safety. It can be a real problem, and that you might not have spotted from discussions that you had with the family before. But anyways, for all these potential issues, you want to make sure that you spoke with the family and that it's clear in their head what they expect from you. Still, you can have so many bad surprises, so you have to be really, really careful. Whether you're going through an agency to find your family or just finding them on your own on social media. So here's the story of how I got kicked out of my family at 19 years old, out in the streets, alone, with my suitcase. Almost no money, freaking out. Yeah, freaked out a little. So here's what happened. So it was back in 2016. I was studying economics. I hated it and I wanted to do something else. And I had this friend who was an au pair and she was having the best time. She was living her best life. She was meeting a lot of people, going to parties, things like this. Her family was amazing and the kids were great with her as well. Everything you can hope for, okay? And she was sending me pictures every day, and with time it got in my head that I needed to do the same thing and live the same experience, except that I don't like kids that much. That's a huge problem. If you think you're not too much into kids but you still want to try, don't try. I took like a few weeks to find a family online, and I talked to them 5 months before even going over there. And when I got in the family, everything was okay. I went there with a friend as well. She was in another family. Everything was going great. And at some point I wanted to start traveling. So after like a month, I asked them if they can take like a day off or two. So that I can go to Bali, because I was in Darwin in Australia. Darwin is really close to Bali. Okay, it's like an hour flight or something. And it wouldn't have been such a big deal because I knew the grandparents were available to look after the kids. And yeah, I would be going like on a weekend, so that it wouldn't be too much trouble to take care of the kids, because the weekend usually I was supposed to be off anyways. So yeah, it was also something that we had talked about, that I would be able to travel around with them or on my own. So I go to them and I asked, is it possible for you to take a day off or two, because I would like to go to Bali before the rainy season starts. They tell me that they can't take any days off because it's the end of the year and they don't have any days off anymore. And like, I'm being understanding, like I'm like, okay, well, it's a shame, but like, no problem. And I just go to my room, a couple days pass by, and then I come back and talk to them about how I want to cut my stay short, because I want to travel and I feel like this city, Darwin, is a little city and there's not much to do around it. So I felt like I needed to leave this family a little bit earlier. So I tell them I might be leaving in January instead of like March or whatever was the time when I was supposed to leave. This is when the mom got crazy. She went crazy on me and being really not nice. So I felt super bad and I went to my room and cried. I called my mom and cried some more. It was just not a good time. And later that night, my host mom and her husband, they come to my room and try to talk me into staying longer. And they said that I could go to Bali and that it was not going to be such a big problem and whatever. So they try to, you know, make it okay. And I'm like, okay, I'm willing to compromise. Like, no problem. It's fine. We're gonna find a solution. We're gonna work it out. Yeah, so then they leave. Couple days pass. Everything is fine. I go back to my usual au pair activities. Then I receive a message from my friend's host mom. She tells me that my host mom published a message. All the families from Darwin had like a Facebook page where they shared things about their au pairs and if they had issues and things like this. But it was not like a positive type of page. It was a page where they would bitch around, about their au pairs and things that they would do or things that they would say or how they would smell even. A host mom, she published, my au pair stinks like poop. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to tell her. She's like, it's awful. And I don't know, I mean, why do you publish things like this? Can't you just go talk to her? I don't know, ask her to take a shower, do something, but why do you have to put it out there on social media? I mean, it's so mean. I think it's so mean. I don't know. It's not how I was raised. So I learned that she posted something on me. And basically this post said that she wanted me out of the house, that she hoped that I would leave really soon. And that when they had come to my room to talk me into staying longer with her husband, that it was her husband's idea and that she went for it, but actually she didn't mean it at all. And yeah, she wants me gone. She made that clear in her post. And I learned this and I'm like, well, she's been playing nice the past couple days, so I don't really get it. Like, what is going on? But like, I had the facts. I had screenshots and everything. Anyways, so then my life continues. I pretend like everything is normal because she kept publishing things, being mean, and other people, even other families, would comment like, ah, these au pairs are so selfish, they only care about themselves. And throughout the weeks I just learned like awful things that she's publishing on me, about me, and basically I get it in my head that I have to get out of there because I'm in a house where I'm not wanted, and I don't want to be in a place where people want me out of their home. Like, it's such a bad feeling, a bad sensation. So I decide to leave, and I start packing my stuff, but like, because I didn't have a place to go, I didn't have a plan because it was all so sudden. I just started like packing because I was, oh, you know, I was so angry at her for playing nice in front of me and bitching in my back. At the same time, it was such a weird ambience in the house. I don't wish this to anybody. What happened is that one morning, I don't know, she came to me and she said something about me not making any efforts for the kids' breakfast or whatever. Then basically what I tell her is that I confront her with the fact that she's been posting things on me and that I don't want to make any efforts anyways because I intend to leave, that her behavior was super childish. I told her that this is not something that you should do to people, and that if she had a problem with me that she should have come talk to me, not just bitch about me on social media. And her answer to this was literally, whatever. She was shocked that I knew because I was not supposed to, because it's only a page for the families. And I knew, and I confronted her, and her answer was whatever. And then I told her I was gonna leave probably on Friday. And she told me, well, why don't you
just fuck off right now.
So that's it. So that's the story. Then I packed my stuff, and at the end of the day, I was out of there. I called a taxi, and I called my friend, her host family, welcomed me really kindly in their home for a couple days, and then we booked a flight to Bali, and we actually went. And the rest of my trip to Australia is a whole different thing. It went super great. It had nothing to do with this first part. So I was an au pair for like a month and 3 weeks. It was really short when you think about it, but things escalated so fast. So if I have any advice for people who want to be au pairs, first thing, make sure that the family that you're going into, that they know what your intentions are. If you wish to travel, or if you're more of an introverted person, and you like to stay lonely, things like this, you want to make sure that they know your personality and that you know what they expect of you. This is really important. Another thing that is obviously super important is communication. If you have any kind of issue, any bad feeling, if you don't feel good in their home, or if they make you feel a certain way, you want to talk to them face to face. If you still want to be an au pair, go for it, knock yourself out, go to town. I won't be doing it again, that is for sure. But if you decide to go anyways, I wish you the best experience and the nicest time traveling. That's it for me. Kisses and hugs. Bye.